Hi folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and welcome to episode 40 of the DGA podcast. I am your host, Vince, and to my right is...
Idly.
Idly! She had to
Yes.
think about that there for a minute.
A little bit.
A little bit, just a switch. It's late in her defense. It's 9:30 p.m. I am forcing her to do this rather than wait for tomorrow because I'm trying to get this done quickly. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump right into it. With episode 40, it's not going to be a top 5. We're just here to talk about survival games, mainly because, well, we just spent the last month, I don't know if it's been a month, maybe 2 or 3 weeks maybe playing and finishing Grounded. I don't remember how long we actually spent on that game. I just simply know that...
63.9 hours.
Okay, 63.9 hours, at least on your end of it. We've been playing co-op with that, and we've been doing 4 hours a night, roughly, and just real quick, before we get into our actual topic, what did you think of Grounded? Like, you had a great time with it, as far as I can tell.
It was an awesome survival game. Boy, did it frustrate me sometimes.
That's what the settings turned down, too. Like, there was the option to, like, whenever you died, you didn't drop anything. And that was great because then we could fast travel between 2 spots. You could set a camp, you could set a respawn point at any lean-to. You can also respawn at the kid case, which was near our first base. So we just kept, like, dying and fast traveling back and forth between the kid case, which is our base, and wherever we happened to be at that point in time. It made it so much faster than having to truck it. My only complaint really was without using that, like, there was no other way to fast travel other than creating huge towers and then creating zip lines that let you zip it. Even then, we'll talk about this in our list, but I would have liked to have had a way to actually, like, create a fast travel system so that I didn't have to deal with all of that nonsense.
We did not create one zip line or one trampoline, which kind of made me a little sad.
Did you want to? Like, were you trying to create this network or what?
I was trying to. I wanted to see how it would work without the fast traveling, like, little exploit that we did. But by then, I just kind of wanted the game to be over. Like, I'm so tired of it. Like,
no, I completely understand. It was a very long and drawn out process. Like, we would log in and we'd be like, okay, we're going to advance the story. And instead of that, we would spend the next 2 days trying to get the resources necessary just to unlock the next thing. Like, there's the Broodmother, for example, which requires a recipe. And you have to get the recipe by going here first. And it was just one thing after the other kept distracting us. So, anyway. So, long story short, we really like the game.
Yeah, lots of side quests, lots of science to collect, lots of little hidden objects to find. Sometimes it was just so frustrating with the platform and with the trying to get to where these hidden objects were. It was a pain in the butt.
Yeah, it was definitely a wiki game where unless you had some kind of wiki, and you even found like a map, like the Conan map that has all the waypoints on it, and you could filter. An Ark Survival Evolved had something similar. You needed one for Grounded because, like, oh, this molar, you have to get here by jumping up here, then across here, then create a ramp here. And it's like, really? Who would have done this without a wiki? I don't think, you know what I mean? Unless you're truly invested, no one in their right mind would spend that much time trying to figure out that one thing. So it's kind of ridiculous that way. But anyway, so our topic this month, it could be weekly if you guys support, just saying. What makes an open world survival game good? So that's why we were just talking about Grounded, because it's sort of fresh in our minds, this whole open world survival thing. And there were a lot of things that we liked about Grounded, some things we didn't like about it, kind of hinted on some of them. So the first thing, we just made a list of what we think makes an open world survival game good, and if you have anything to comment on it, feel free to join my Discord, and maybe I'll read off some of your answers as a belated thing for next podcast. But anyway, one thing that we had talked about off camera was a needs system. For example, food, thirst, sleep, temperature, optional realism settings. So So open world survival games will skirt at this, and then some will just dive wholeheartedly into it. Think Subnautica, where
Mm-hmm.
you could enable oxygen and food and some other things, health, and then there was another setting that was just oxygen, and then there was just another setting where it was like God mode, where you can pretty much do anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like in say Project Zomboid, that's an open world survival game, just it's more isometric. But like you could like your temperature got or your character got cold and your arm got injured, so you had to address that. Or if you got a bite and there was a possible infection, you take antibiotics. 7 days to Die is another example of something with a more in-depth, not in-depth, but it's a more in-depth system than some other open world games that I've seen.
Yeah.
So I guess my question to you is like, do you prefer an open world survival games with a lot of needs, with a lot of different things, like a realism, or do you like a light need system to where you can concentrate more on exploration and combat and stuff like that?
To be honest, it depends on the game. I think the Long Dark did it awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The Long Dark, I love that you have to actually boil the water and cook your food, and there's a lot of little things that you have to really take care of to, survive. But that's because there's not a lot of combat. I guess there is because there's like wolves and stuff.
The main enemy in the Long Dark is nature herself.
Yeah.
So like it's you against the cold. Yes, there are bears. Yes, there are wolves, but for the most part, you are fighting nature. There's no
Mm-hmm.
zombies. There's no like enemy camps throwing enemies at you. So yeah, there's more emphasis on like survival elements than in
Mm-hmm.
exploration than there is combat.
Yeah, and then there's Stardew Valley, where I wish I could just shut all that stuff off. Like, I mean, does it have hunger? I don't remember. It has a sleep
Hunger,
meter,
it has a stamina bar. So you
stamina.
can eat in order to charge your stamina and get more out of
Mhm.
your day, but that's it really. There's not a whole lot, but yeah, being able to turn off stamina in Stardew Valley would be awesome. That way you don't have to worry
Mhm.
about eating. I mean, I play Stardew Valley to make money. It's
Yeah,
weird. I don't do it to start a family and to talk to everyone. I do it to be a mogul. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Of farming, whereas you like to talk to everyone,
I do.
Miss Social. You like to get gifts from everyone.
Hmm.
I play that game so that to see if I can make $100,000 or whatever it is or coins in the first year.
I
That's why I play it.
I love that Subnautica gives you the option of having those survival elements or not, because it really is just dependent on the person and the type of game that
Hmm.
you want to play. So, Medieval Dynasty did a great job in the survival elements, and sometimes I wish I could turn all that stuff off just so I can like do my thing and build my town. But
Hmm.
it's great. I like survival needs, I
Hmm.
guess.
I think Medieval Dynasty doesn't do it enough. Like,
Really.
let's see. Okay, Medieval Dynasty, for example, has a hot and cold system.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely will your character get hot. I've never had my character get hot ever. And
Mm-hmm.
cold, there are two or three skill points that you could take that completely
Okay.
negate it, no matter what clothes you wear. So it's like, well, I've beaten it. Now what? You know, like
Mm-hmm.
the temperature becomes moot after a while in that game. Like the first year in winter, maybe you'll run into a problem, but as you level up that one skill tree and put points into temperature, like there's no need to worry about it ever again. There's
Mm-hmm.
hunger in that game and thirst, but that's about it. And I think there's stamina. But
Mm-hmm.
I favor games that have a deeper system of survival because I like that realism. So as long as it's not absurd or too hard.
Is it like Kingdom Come Deliverance?
Kind of. Yeah, Kingdom Come Deliverance, like, the only thing I don't like about that game is the grind in that is
Mm.
ridiculous. Leveling up archery. Like, I love the idea of starting out as a nobody and working your way up.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, it's just so grindy. It's just you're doing the same archery minigame over and over and over.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I think it did it too much, to be honest with you.
Mm.
But one thing I do like is, say, Project Zomboid. Has a really great system. You open up your character sheet, and there's a body right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can apply bandages to yourself. Another example, I wouldn't necessarily call it like a typical open world, but there's a game that I've been playing a lot lately called Tropic Card Survival something or other. It's a
Mm-hmm.
card game, but you're on a tropical island, and it's a card survival game where it's just cards. But so many things in that game caught me by surprise. I got bit by a shark, for example, and there was a shark wound, and I had to dress it, and I had to apply aloe vera to it and other things, or I could have just bled out. And that game has a huge system between mental and physical needs that your character has to maintain, loneliness, various things, happiness. There's so many bars, hunger, thirst, sleepiness. That to me is, I love that. I love
Mm-hmm.
the management of that style. So when it comes to needs, I'm all for them. So as long as they're not too difficult. I wish
Yeah, or
as
too overwhelming.
right, right.
Mm-hmm.
I like a complex system, but not one that's overly so.
Mm-hmm. If you can navigate through it pretty easily, I
Mm-hmm.
think that's pretty good. But Barrow Trauma had kind of a survival system, I think. Not an eating and drinking, but definitely taking care of your body parts. Like
Hmm.
your certain different body parts, if they like, if you had like frostbitten or frostbite on your hands or something, you have to take a specific medicine to cure
Really?
that. Hmm.
See, barotrauma, I don't know what it is about barotrauma, but it was too difficult for me. I don't know what it is. Like, it's just
Hmm.
not, I didn't feel like it was solo player friendly. The bots kind of did their own thing. It was too hectic for me. I like the idea of it.
Hmm.
It's like that one submarine game that we played, Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time, where we're controlling
Yes.
different turrets, or We Need to Go Deeper was another co-op submarine game.
Hmm.
That was more casual, and I like that. But Barotrauma was like, oh, the engineer has to rewire everything on the submarine. That's
Yeah.
cool, really, it is. But it's like it was too overwhelming for me, and the community was so toxic. It turned me off.
The community was so toxic. That's why I really did try to play solo, or at least with a group of people that I got along with.
Mm,
And it turned out to be really fun once I actually got a handle on it and knew how to play. So,
fair enough.
mhm.
Well, that was just number one. So
Wow.
we'll move on to number two.
Okay.
Optional questing and freedom to choose. For
Yes.
example, Fallout 4, or Fallout 3 for that matter, you can pretty much complete, if you know where to go, you can complete those games in like an hour.
Wow.
Whereas if you ignore the main quest, you can actually side quest for months.
Yep.
That's one thing I like to do. As much as I like to advance the story, I'm one of those people where before I advance a story, I want my base to be as ready as it can possibly be. I want my character to be as buff as I possibly can make it. The best weapons, the best armor. So I'm constantly doing side quests that take me away from the main quest,
Hmm.
just so that when I do the main quest, I can feel good steamrolling the crap out of it.
Hmm.
That's how I like to play open world games. I like to turtle in a base somewhere, build up. If there's a game like Fallout 4, I like to jump around and build bases everywhere. Get a ton of money, bottle caps in that game, and just again grow an empire before I try and finish the game. I just finished Fallout 4 a year ago, maybe less than that, and it's been out for how long? So I'm just saying, like that. That's how long it took me to finish it.
Yeah.
Do you care for optional questing, or do you just like main
Oh
quest?
no,
Do you like a linear experience?
I love optional questing. I think side quests are amazing. I have not finished Assassin's Creed. I've not finished Skyrim because I'm just so distracted by all the stupid side quests. And sometimes I can't stand it because I do want to finish the game. But I'm a completionist, so I need to get those side quests done. Even if I have to Google or Wiki the next side quest so I don't spoil the main story.
Mm.
Like if it changes the main story somehow or if it makes other side quests disappear, I have to like make sure that I get it done right.
With what, like in Assassin's Creed you just mentioned, I've
Mhm.
caught you Googling the dialogue choice results so
Oh
that
yeah.
you don't lose the opportunity to take this other quest later on.
Exactly.
With
Yeah.
me, it's the Skyrim map markers. When they
Mm-hmm.
pop up, I gotta go see what that is. And not
Mm-hmm.
because I'm interested, well, partially I'm interested in exploring it, but I'm interested in it because it might contain loot that would make my character more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about hauling 200, 300 pounds worth of stuff back to my base and spending hours organizing it in countless chests.
Yep.
That's what I like to do. I love hoarding. I'm a hoarder. If I were on the show Hoarders, they would have a problem with my RPG open world base because it would have so many chests with so much crap in it. That's
Mm-hmm.
how I like to roll.
You might like Disney Dreamlight Valley just because
No.
it has so many storage and resource options.
If that were reskinned to Star Trek or Star Wars, I would consider it, but not Disney.
Disney, yeah.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to be walking down some road in here, and he don't like a stan him, don't like the stan him. I don't want to hear any of that. No,
Scarface is in it.
I don't
You know,
care.
he's a villain.
But
He's a bad guy.
Scarface. What about Mickey and Donald?
Mickey's
And
in it. Mickey and Donald's. It's funny because Scarface is one of my favorite characters.
Scarface from Lion King, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, he was a jerk, and he is such a jerk, but he's one of my favorites just because it's so nostalgic, you know.
I don't know.
But
But didn't they focus more on like Moana or what's her face?
yeah, they focused more on like the later generation Disney
Like the newer
characters.
Disney, like the Hawaiian characters. Was it Lilo and Stitch? Was that Disney?
No, Moana. Yeah, Lilo and Stitch is probably coming out soon, but it's Moana and Maui, and then Frozen, the Frozen characters,
Oh, so Elsa.
and then yeah, Elsa and Anna and
Don't ask me
Kristoff,
how I know that.
and then Tangled, Mother Gothel, the
I don't
villain
know who
from
that
Tangled.
is. I know Cinderella. I know Snow White. I know the old school stuff.
Anyways,
Anyway,
I
all right.
digress. So the optional questing, 7 Days to Die did it great. There's like these little mini quests that you can buy, not buy, but like talk to a shopkeeper and you can go questing in that sense. Dying Light did it great. I love focusing on a region and making sure that it's 100% complete before even moving on to like the next region. But sometimes that can't happen until, side quests are done. But yeah, side quests are fantastic. Have you ever heard of the game Licton Battle Mage?
I've heard of it, never played it. Isn't that the one you try to get me to play where you can dual wield on both
Yeah.
hands? But see, I can already do that in Skyrim. I could be Emperor Palpatine in one hand and a fire wizard on the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
I
I like I liked Licton Battle Mage, but it was very linear. It's very, very linear. And it actually got a little bit difficult halfway throughout the game. But it's so nice because it was beautiful. Like it's such a graphically pleasing game. And it really made the mage stuff it was pretty in depth. Like you can actually mix and match magic spells and make like the most powerful things come to life, and it was pretty awesome in that sense. But there was no optional questing, which was kind of sad.
so it's more linear.
It was very
Was it
linear.
open world though, or was it
It
go from
wasn't.
point A to point B?
It wasn't even open world. It looks open world. It really does, but it's not.
But
And
it's
such an
Wolfenstein 3D
illusion.
where you've got different ways to go, or is it a straight line?
It's a straight line. It's like Warhammer Vermintide 2.
Ugh. All
You know.
right, never
So
mind. It's not
there.
open world then.
No, it's definitely not. It gives you the illusion that it is, but it's really not.
Boo.
Yeah. But yeah, so I do like the optional quests. I think those are fantastic.
Yep.
All right, so we'll move on to number 3. In terms of open world, and this is again my opinion, minimal platforming, no need to wiki hidden complex stuff. And we've kind of already talked about this in our grounded discussion. I
Real
hate.
quick.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Was the Outer Worlds linear or was that open world?
Outer Worlds, the first person sci-fi game that was Obsidian.
I think so.
Partially open world, partially like it was open world to some degree, but you flew to different planets and areas and did things in them.
Okay.
So it was open world. It was more open world than it was linear.
Okay. All right. I haven't played that enough to know, so
That's fine.
yeah.
So yeah, minimal platforming. To me, like, okay, this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, but there was a Star Wars game, Jedi Fallen Order. I loved the combat and the lightsaber and the blocking and I loved that, but it was like 50 to 75% trying to get from point A to point B by jumping over this and puzzling that, and I'm like, and to be fair, it wasn't Jedi Fallen Order wasn't an open world game. I mean, it kind of was. You could go around the different area, just like in the game you just mentioned, Outer Worlds. You could pick a location and sort of explore it, but it wasn't as open world as, say, Skyrim. But I hate having to wiki locations. I hate having to platform from here to here to here to either progress or to pick up this extra thing that will improve my character in some way. I hate it. It has no place in an open world game, in my opinion. But again, so needless to say, I didn't care for Tomb Raider. You know what I mean? Because Tomb Raider was kind of a similar thing. I think open world is more akin to games like Skyrim, where some open world games your character can't even jump. You know what I mean? Like there are some games where your character can't even jump. I don't mind that. I mean, I do mind it, but I'd rather not have to platform if it were up to me. Any thought on do you like games with platforming and stuff in it? Hidden nooks and...
I don't mind a platform type of open world place if there are multiple ways to get an item and not just by platforming. That's why I really enjoyed Grounded, because I could either platform or I could just build stairs at the wazoo.
Like Fortnite. Like you were building stuff in Grounded like Fortnite. You were creating these odd ramps that did not connect to each other in any way. Somehow they supported each other. It was so glitchy. But you were able to reach areas just by building, rather than having to platform from this branch over to this stone wall. Then you got to narrowly walk up this other branch and not fall off, and then you had to jump over. And what sucks is a lot of the molars and the skins and the stuff that made you more powerful, typically in these games, require that. Jedi Fallen Order, another example, to level up your character and to make him stronger. 95% of the stuff in that game, you had to find it by doing these absurd jumping, platforming feats. And I hated that. Give me more of a lightsaber combat game without all of that platforming, and I'll be super happy.
Yeah, I'm not too big on the platforming. I mean, as long as there's multiple ways of getting said item, or if I could just, like buy it, like somehow.
Right. Make some sort of economy where you can buy molars. And Grounded instead of having to find them. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
No need to wiki hidden complex stuff. Yeah, like I would rather have a wiki in game instead of like alt tabbing and trying to.
It breaks the immersion.
It does. It really does.
Like I'll be on a branch. Okay, where do I go next? Alt tab. Okay, read this wiki article. Now I'm back in game. Where am I at? I'm disoriented. I fell off the branch. Whatever. Number 4, and this is what I look for a lot. Emphasis on loot and storage chests, and the ability to sort, auto-stack, and label said chests. Stardew Valley, for example, you could build chests, but without some sort of mod, your chest options were limited.
Yeah.
There are mods out. Well, that's another thing we'll talk about later. But games like Grounded, you can build chests freely, which is awesome. And then they recently patched in an auto stack and auto sort button. Skyrim, a game that I love. Vanilla Skyrim is very difficult to play because the UI is awful. The vanilla UI is awful. And you cannot place chests in the environment. You have to rely on, like, if you create a house or build a house or you buy a house, the only things that you can, like, the only chests you have are what comes with that house. And it's in a fixed place. I hated that about Skyrim. That was the one thing that bothered the crap out of me. Of course, you can mod Skyrim at this point, but anyway.
7 Days to Die had a fantastic, I think,
Yes.
storage chest
I
system.
loved that. Any game that lets me throw down a million chests and label them, even Minecraft. There are signs that you can put on the wall above the chest, wood or stone, and I did that. Like, I had an off-camera Xbox 360 playthrough back in the day when I used to play the Xbox 360. I had things labeled. I had a chest for every single item in the game. Sometimes 2 or 3 chests for one thing. It was ridiculous, but I loved it. I loved the warehouse. V Rising kind of had that, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, kind of.
What about you? Is loot? Well, is that important to you? Loot chests and stuff?
It absolutely is. It is so frustrating trying to, because I'm a hoarder too. You know, just like you. I love to hoard resources. I also like to use the resources,
Yeah.
unlike you.
No, see,
But
no. See, I must have 500 of it before I can spend it.
I
Because I
see.
might need that 500 for something else down the line. You laugh, but there's that 1 out of 1,000 chance. Oh, I need 500 of this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
One time, I don't remember what game it was, but I was in a group and I wanted 50 of every resource, and they said that was going overboard. And I said, no, I gotta have it. I gotta have 50. And then when I used up like 50 of one resource, I said, okay, I'm gonna increase this number to 100 of everything.
what?
So that's always been like my limit, 100 of
Wow.
everything.
Okay, 100 of
Uh,
everything. All right, that makes sense.
you have 500, I have 100.
Well,
But you would actually hate the Disney Dreamlight storage then,
you
because
said the chests were limiting or what?
they're the storage system is just awful. You can build as many storage chests as you want, but they only hold up to like, I think it's 18 items. They only hold up to the 2 rows. There's 2 rows of empty space, and then the rest of it on the bottom, you cannot put anything.
Hmm.
I don't know if we're waiting for an update for that or what, but you can only hold up to a certain amount of items, and it's kind of silly. So people have like 40 chests of like just a few items here and there.
I liked No Man's Sky's
Mm,
chest sharing between worlds, but it limited you to 10. The last time I played No Man's Sky, the chests were these huge cubes that you
yeah.
put, like, why are they so big? Well, I just want little chests that I can put down and put stuff into. Instead, you had 10 chests. They were huge, but they were shared across all of your. So if you built Cube 1 on one planet and Cube 1 on a different planet, they would have the same storage pool,
Hmm.
which is cool. I like it. But they were A, too big, and B, you couldn't build enough chests. I don't know if
Yeah.
they've changed it since then, but I like a universal pool, so I don't have to keep jumping back and forth between planets or whatever. So that's another thing I look for. It's not very common, but it is a cool thing to have. All
And
right.
then sometimes in certain open world games, you don't even have chests; you just have inventory space. Like,
Borderlands.
yeah.
You do have a bank, but it's
Hmm.
limited on slots. Borderlands is one of those games where it gives you 1,000 different variations on a gun, but only like what 10. Well, you have 4 slots that you can hold guns in, and then maybe an inventory space of like 10 or 15, and then a bank that only holds so much. Like,
Yeah. Is that an open world survival game?
it
Is there no
is
need?
Borderlands 2. Yeah, because you can spawn in any part of the world. You can get from this part of the world to this part of the world by walking, or you can fast travel. I consider it open world.
There's no food or thirst or sleep
No, but it's all weaponry.
thing.
It's
Yeah.
more of a loot RPG than an. I mean, it's still open
Yeah.
world in my opinion.
Okay.
It's just
Yeah, it's open world.
it has zero to it has very little, if any, survival
Yeah.
mechanics. And
Yeah.
Skyrim actually has survival mechanics if you turn on the one mode, right?
Yes. I keep that off.
I've never tried it. How deep is it? Have you tried it?
I think I tried it for all but 3 seconds, and I said, let me beat the game first
So
without this.
was there no like there was no fast travel or something, and your
I don't
character?
I don't
I
remember.
don't remember.
I remember saying, "Oh, you should try this. It's really cool." But
I'd be stuck
I
in
don't want to do it
Whiterun,
yet.
not being able to do anything. I'd be the most useless person in Skyrim. But
That's funny.
anyway, so number 5, I require base building, outposts, possible linkage or benefits, so that when you build an outpost, it somehow ties in with your base in some way. One example of that is State of Decay 2, where you have a main base, and yeah, you can jump around between different preset bases, but you can put an outpost anywhere, and depending on what place you pick as your outpost, you'll get a benefit for it. Whether it be more bed space, electricity that you can have throughout your main base. Like if you make an outpost in a power plant, it'll give you electricity.
Hmm.
Or maybe food every so often, or fuel. I love that. I wish more open world games did that. I want an economy that will reward out, like Fallout 4 is kind of similar. They don't really link together, but you can put marketplaces down in each of your different towns that you have, and they will generate caps for you automatically. It's a very rudimentary way to do it, but I want to build like an economy trade empire with all of my outposts. I want them feeding each other and providing my main base with some kind of benefit.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it's just not worth it, um, in my
Medieval
opinion.
Dynasty, doesn't that do that kind of? Like you can have multiple villages?
You can, but they don't. The villagers in that game fast travel. Like, okay, not fast travel, but let's say that you've got a mine all the way on the other side of the map, and all your peasant housing are like in the middle of the map.
Hmm.
Whenever they leave their house to go to the mine, they don't actually have to be at the mine to work. The
Hmm.
work day starts at 8. You'll see them or whatever walk toward the mine, and then halfway there you'll see them walk home because they didn't make it to the mine. But they still technically worked between 8 and the time they had to leave.
Okay.
So it's just weird that way. But yeah, so mines, for example, they automatically, like, the resources from your mines feed into your warehouses, which is awesome. I love that. So I wish more games did that.
Hmm.
I like that form of automation that, which we'll talk about later, I guess. But yeah, base building and outposts, and
Hmm.
the ease of base building too. Like we had a discussion about Conan and Ark. Like we were frustrated. Like we were trying to build the shark pen in Ark for the longest time,
Hmm.
and you built this crazy, ridiculous underwater thing that took you forever to do, and even then it didn't work right. And Ark, was, I don't know, it's just frustrating. Whereas in Conan, it's slightly better.
Hmm.
Do you have any thoughts on the whole base building outpost thing? Like, what do you?
The the only reason why it was better is because there was a setting that you turned off where it doesn't need support, and that was amazing. I love that option. I think every single base building game should have that
Remove the
option.
physics of needing support. Yeah, uh huh.
Because, I mean, it's nice to try it without that option and really try to get like some sort of architectural, realistic physics in there.
Mm-hmm.
But if the game is just so frustrating that you cannot base build without ripping your hair out, then yeah, give us an option of taking that out completely. Um, yeah, I like base building. I like outposts. Um, I do wish more games would have that possible linkage, like you said earlier, because Don't Starve Together, for example, doesn't really have that. Sure, you can build in different places, but you can't really have um
Mm-hmm.
it
There's no
doesn't benefit your
linkage.
main base.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no linkage. It's just a place to hunker down for the night. Should you
Mm-hmm.
not make it back to your base by nightfall, and you don't have a
Mm-hmm.
torch.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, I'll post
okay.
A plus.
A plus. Number 6, allies and a base defense element.
Hmm.
I love a reason to have a base. I love building up resources and I love defending said base. So if there's a base defense element to it, I'm all for it. And I love having and recruiting allies. As an example, State of Decay 2, you can go out into the world. It sucks you can only have up to like 8 people or something like that. But on occasion, zombies will attack your base, and depending on your noise level, it determines how often they do so. I love that. I mean, granted, State of Decay 2 isn't as advanced as it could be, but it does the whole thing better. 7 Days to Die, I love because every night they're attacking you, or every 7 days, there's just a huge swarm that comes towards your base, and you've either held up at a mall somewhere that's already pre-built for you, and you're hoping that it holds, or you've built an underground bunker and you're hoping they don't dig to you. I love the freedom to do that.
I wish we could hire people in that game, though. 7 Days to
Oh
Die.
no, that would be so
That would be
awesome.
fun.
Uh-huh. That game's been in development for like 10 years at this point. It's still
Hmm.
alpha, if you can believe
Hmm.
it.
Conan does a great job with that. There's like a tower defense thing at night sometimes, or whenever. Again, options. Like it gives you the option to have that or not. But if you do have it, there are things that attack your base, and you can just build up a massive army with your thralls, and it's actually kind of cool.
The wheel of pain. Just have 10 wheels of pain going, and just it's so morbid, that game. You knock
Hmm.
someone out, and then you tie a rope to them and you drag them across the open sand for miles, and then you put them
Hmm.
in this wheel of pain and just watch them just push this wheel around like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Conan the Barbarian or whatever it was.
Hmm.
Anyway, so number 7, good UI with a search bar and the ability to favorite or organize recipes. I'm beating a dead horse, but 7 Days to Die had an excellent way. You could search for things, you could filter, you can even add favorites so that you can
Hmm.
easily get to the recipes that you're constantly using. Are there any games that you did not care for in terms of like UI? I mean, Vanilla Skyrim had an awful UI. You couldn't search for
Yes.
anything. Grounded, I had a difficult time finding the recipe I was looking for to build it. It was just unorganized, in my opinion.
Yeah, the only thing with Grounded is that it has like 6 or 7 different tabs. Like it had an armor tab, a weaponry tab, and a resource tab. And the item that you can search for is easy only if you know which tab it's under.
Right.
So I wish it had like a global search engine thing instead of just a search engine under each
Yeah, it's
category.
ridiculous. Yeah,
Hmm.
the reason I'm trying to search for it is because I can't find it. Why are you limiting my choice
Yeah.
to under what tab it's under? It's stupid.
Yeah. So I agree. UI is huge. If we want to find something, we need to be able to just type in the first letter and have all the words connected to it list.
Didn't Arc have? Yeah, you could search for things in Arc. There's a search
Yeah.
bar in Arc. I love that.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So I mean, not much more to say other than good UI and search bars and being able to organize your recipes being able to favorite a recipe, one that you're constantly trying to find. I think that's super big, super huge,
Yeah.
big quality of life thing.
Hmm.
Number 8, I put down a plethora of unique, unexpected monsters, bosses, biomes, and some sort of scare factor to go along with it.
Hmm.
Nothing is worse than a survival game where within the first 10 minutes you've seen everything that there is to see and nothing scares you anymore. In
Yeah.
my first playthrough of The Long Dark, I was so scared to go anywhere because it was all snow, same biome, but like there was a tower and there was a forest and then the dam. And this was in the early days of the Long Dark. There was a wolf in there, a supersized wolf that would kill you in one hit unless you got lucky and took it down. They got rid of that wolf since, but that scared the living
Oh.
daylights out of me. Just little things like that. I love games that constantly keep you on your toes. I'm
Hmm.
not a fan of open world games that, you've seen everything. Skyrim is great because, like, oh, a nest of vampires? What's this? Oh, now I've contracted vampirism. How do I get rid
Hmm.
of this? Oh, now I've got bitten by a werewolf. Now how do I fix that? You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So I love it when games have different biomes and have a whole bunch of different monsters. I hated as much as I like Grounded. Grounded was more of a reskin of things, like the red mites that you saw in the beginning of the game. became dust mites. It was the same skin, but they were brown
Mm-hmm.
instead of red. And then you had ticks, which looked like the mites, but they were black. Then you had the orb weaver spiders and the wolf spiders, and they kind of looked like the wolf spider variant of this looked the same. Like you had some games will reskin existing models just to make and change their color to make them look different, but they're use a different model. Be more creative
I,
than that.
I, it's, I think in that sense, it's really dependent on how the game is. Because 7 Days to Die has reskins too of all their models,
Yeah,
I
I
think.
hate it. I
Mhm.
7 Days to Die needs more variety. It's
Yeah.
either dogs or birds or one of the. There's a lumberjack,
Hmm.
lumberjack zombie, and naked stripper zombie. There's a.
Yeah. The
I mean,
radioactive green ones.
yeah, come on, be more creative than that. Where's the like in Forewarned, for example? There is that one creature that they just released with the 6 arms or whatever. Why not
Yeah.
create some really scary mutants? I mean, this is the post-apocalyptic world.
Hmm.
Why not be creative and create these huge monsters that have like just grown out of proportion, like T-virus level from Resident
Hmm.
Evil? You know what I mean? Why don't we be
I,
a little bit more creative than that?
I was so disappointed in Valheim in that sense.
Yeah.
Because when you explored a biome, everything was the same in that biome. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I like to see little crevices like Ark. In Ark, I mean, you get there's a ton of different dinosaurs, but each little place is kind of different. Like there's always something like, oh, I haven't seen this before. Oh, there's
Mm-hmm.
like a little cave in here. I haven't seen this before. But in Valheim, you know, if you step foot in the swamp, and you see like just a little bit of the area and you see the monsters there, you're like, okay, so this is the whole biome. I know that this whole biome is going to look like this. It's not going to surprise me,
Right.
you know?
You can see if you're standing in the grass biome and you look into the swamp biome, you can see some of the swamp biome monsters patrolling back and forth, and you oh yeah, those are swamp monsters. They
Hmm.
never like cross the streams hardly. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? On
And
rare
there's,
occasions do I see monsters from the mountains come down that are really close to the grasslands or whatever. But like you said, it's like these monsters are only programmed to spawn in this biome.
yeah.
Let's mix it up a little bit. Let's create a bit more variety. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
But that's just
But,
me. Number 9, fast travel stations preferred. One thing you mentioned Valheim. One thing that bothered the
yep.
crap out of me. Yes, you could create fast travel systems, but you couldn't transport like iron ore or whatever, which was stupid. Why would you limit? And you could people could get around it by like logging out of one game, bringing their character somewhere else on another map, and then logging back. Something they were able to sort of like get around it anyway. So why
Hmm.
bother? There was another open world game that had a fast travel system that we played that V Rising. With V Rising, I turned that off, and it was a godsend. I loved it. You could just transport. Now, granted, I don't think you could put them anywhere. You were limited on how many you could put down because you were limited on your castle count. But even
Hmm.
still, like I love V Rising more than Vheim or Valheim because of the fast travel system. I think it's necessary. I want to create. I like being able to create a Stargate command. There's 50 portals in a row. Signs above each one. This one takes you to this biome.
Hmm.
And then when you step into it, you've got a base or an outpost built for you that you've built and you're happy. You know, I love that kind of base building and fast travel. I hate having to spend 45 minutes traveling and then because I'm tired and fatigued, I die and then I have to run to my body and pick up everything I lost, then try and haul that. I mean, ugh. No. Give me fast travel and make
Yeah.
it unlimited. That's my viewpoint. Uh,
I love a fast travel system. And if there is none, I want a jetpack. Or at least turn into a bird or a bat like in V Rising.
mm-hmm.
So that I can like really soar. Obviously that's like game stuff, you know. Maybe early to mid game if they limit fast travel things. But I mean, who wants to sit there on their computer for hours just getting from one place to another
Yeah.
just to die?
If
Like,
you if that is your only game and you're super into realism, fine. But I am a content creator slash reviewer. I don't have time to
mhm.
do that. Give me a fast travel. Could you imagine if No Man's Sky you had to fly to every planet you wanted to get to? In No Man's Sky, you can create a fast travel portal or whatever on every planet, anywhere you want it. But could you imagine having to fly to your planet, and that would be awful.
Astroneer had some those fast travel points, those big
Yeah,
old
they were fixed.
triangles.
They were fixed
Yeah.
though.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, they had fast
Yeah.
travel. Fixed is okay, but give me the ability to put them down anywhere I want, so I can go. Here's a gold. I found a place with all these resources: gold, iron ore. Put a portal down so I can go to and from quickly. I want that. I want to
Hmm.
create little mini outposts with a portal so I can fast travel to it. That's what I
You
want.
know, Disney Dreamlight Valley
Oh God,
has
here we go.
well portals, and
All
you can
right.
actually place them anywhere. So, all
Stay on
right,
target.
yeah, all right,
Stay
all right.
on.
And
Stay
it
on
is on
target.
target. It's a fast travel. Disney Dreamlight has a fast travel
Shut
system
up,
in each
Wesley.
tile.
Shut up,
All right.
Wesley.
He hates the game. He really does. I love it, but okay.
Bogey.
all right. Anyway, um,
Interactive maps.
interactive. Yes, that's the next one. Number 10 on our list. Interactive maps, the ability to place waypoints and icons and even notes for others to see. 7 Days to Die had that, but it was really weird, like the sharing of waypoint markers. You had to create a waypoint marker and then find the share button and share it, and it was a little overcomplicated than it needed to be.
Hmm.
In Grounded, you could ping one area, but in order to create waypoints, you had to put down map marker signposts. It was okay, but give me the ability to like. I want to be able to go to a map, interact with it, put notes or marks down anywhere I want, anytime I want, no matter where I am.
Hmm.
And I want to even like I want to be able to type in a description if I want and minimize or maximize that description so I can remind myself I found this cave, but I need to explore it later. Or,
Yeah.
I want to put something like that shorthand and a description in a map marker note so I know to come back to it later without having to remember what the color, like in Planet Crafter, I can put down beacons and I can change their color, but that's it. So I've had to memorize like blue is base, red is it's a cave that I found but I haven't explored. Yellow is I've explored this cave. White is a passageway. I don't I don't want to have to memorize what colors are or icons are. I just
Hmm.
give me the ability to fully create a map that I can interact with. That's my preferred thing.
Hmm.
In the long dark, it's interesting. The map is not generated at all until you get coal and you have paper and you have to do a rubbing and it reveals the area around you a little on the map. So you have to go to different points on the map and use that charcoal paper thing every time to reveal more of the map. And I hate it when games don't give you your location on that map.
Yeah.
Ark Survival Evolved by default does not do that, but there are server settings where you can turn that on. It's
Hmm.
just super annoying to try and find yourself in the environment and not know which direction you're pointed. It's realism, don't get me wrong, and realism in some cases are good, but I prefer a map marker as to where I am and where my friends are. Or guildmates if there's guilds in the game.
Hmm.
I would prefer that in my open world games. Any thoughts on maps and quest markers and the like?
I agree with everything you said. I do prefer, you know, your location on the map and seeing, all your friends as little arrows or like circles running around. I think 7 Days to Die did a great job with their map system. Like you said, it was a little convoluted, but once you learn how to get a handle on it, it was awesome because you could type whatever you want and share it so that everyone can see. You can make it so that only you can see, only your tribe sees, and I think that's one of the best map systems in the game that they have. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the Long Darks charcoal thing That is really annoying.
Yes, it is. It
uh,
is super annoying.
and the fact that you don't know where you are, it can't. That seems pretty intriguing. Like, you would have to have like a lot of landmarks around you to find out where you are and a compass,
Hmm.
so maybe that could be a little bit enticing, but for really, really casual players who don't want to play like that, there should be at least an option to turn that
I
off.
agree. I mean, I can see the Long Dark because it's not combat based. It's more exploration and survival.
And
I
it's not
can.
multiplayer either.
Right, I wish it was. That would be
Yeah.
so awesome. That we covered that in a different list, I think. Games we wish we had multiplayer. But anyway, I wish there was a way to enable or your player marker on the Long Dark so that it isn't as hardcore as it is. I can see why they did it,
Hmm.
but because it is a more in-depth survival experience, using landmarks to find your location or whatnot. But more often than not, I go to a wiki. I find the map and I'm okay. There's a cabin over here. I probably should try and
Hmm.
find it because that game is so difficult to me. Even on the easiest setting, it's difficult to survive in that game to me. So like I need all the help I can get. So I wish
Hmm.
there was more customizable options there. Speaking of the Long Dark, they're releasing a DLC at some point. I'm not sure when it's going to be released, but I just know that there's a DLC coming.
Yeah, I read that somewhere.
I told you.
Yeah.
I got a press email.
Oh, I thought I
Oh,
read that
maybe
when you
you did
made the
too. It's
updates.
possible. Okay, so number 11, economy. We kind of touched on this already. I love an open world survival game that has some sort of like economy system where you can run a business. I know that this is an MMORPG, but there was a game that's no longer around. It was called Star Wars Galaxies. It was an MMORPG, and in addition to going around doing MMORPG stuff, going around leveling up and killing stuff and leveling up your character, your class, whatever, grouping up, doing dungeons, you could actually get a house, put it down on any planet you wanted, and you could run a business from there if you want. You can set up a kiosk, and people could buy from your kiosk. You could buy a droid that you can put in the middle of town, and it will advertise your shop and send the user coordinates to your shop and create a waypoint so that they could travel to your shop and buy something. I had two accounts in that game. One for battling, because when you apply skill points in that game, you apply it to both combat and merchant stuff. There were no separate point systems. So like
Hmm.
I had one character focused on combat. They went out and did the combat stuffs, whereas my merchant was the business guy and he stayed in my base and just made the money. And he fed my other combat character as he needed to.
That's
I
cool.
love that. And you could even go out and like put mines down and collect materials and transport them back to your base. Like I love that about Star Wars Galaxy. I want to see more games like that.
Hmm.
And I wish there was one like that in an open world survival game where I could run my own little economy. I want to. Planet Crafter to some degree does that. It's open world, it's survival. You can put mines down at some point, but you have to ferry them back. Give me like some sort of like monetary crafting. Medieval Dynasty kind of does this, but
Hmm.
still like not to the degree that I want.
Yeah.
Is economy important to you at all, or do you just like the open world survival stuff?
I think economy is great. I like the open world survival stuff. And if it doesn't have economy, that's okay with me. But if there is a game like Eco that does have economy, that's
Eco,
that's a bonus for me. The economy in Eco though is so incredibly
convoluted.
in depth and convoluted and so hard to learn. It's the steepest learning curve ever because it really takes like taxes and mortgage and renting land and all these other like accounting business terms that banking terms that I don't even know about,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to like actually read up on take a class in business just to try and play the game, and it's very multiplayer heavy. You cannot really play the game by yourself.
Because the game limits you in skill points, and you can only apply so many skill points across so many different skills, and you need certain skills in order to make certain buildings. So you need this one person, like let's say you take a lumberjack, or what, I don't remember the skills, but let's say you focus on wood cutting and lumberjacking, and you build buildings surrounding that. Well, you're out of points, at least for now, but now you need a stone cutter, or you need this other building, or town hall, whatever. You need someone in points with that so they can build those things. So yeah, like you said, it's very multiplayer heavy. I want to play Eco more often. I want to play it. I just don't want to... I want to be able to do it with like a small knit group of people, and I want to have the time. It's just so grindy as is.
Yeah. There's Sims 3 is one of my favorite open world games. It's not... It kind of is survival, too, because you're controlling your character.
Because you've got 8 need bars that you're trying to...
Yeah, exactly.
Hygiene.
And you have your own business. You can buy out the businesses that are on the map. You can actually buy them out. And you can work in them. Or you can just have a house business. You can have like a little upstairs or downstairs or in your main living room and sell things and tag them. And then people will come in and buy stuff, like swipe them right off the thing and
that's weird.
And go to your cash register and, you know, buy it. It is so cool. I love Sims 3 business thing. Sims 2 I think did it great too, but Sims 3 I think just like blew it out of the water.
I am more of the Sims 2 crowd, only because in Sims 2, while it's not as advanced as Sims 3, Sims 2 had this kiosk that you put down. People would interact with it, and you would just get money as long as they were in that area. So what I did was I built my house, and then I built a little garage. And I put 3 exercise bikes in this garage. Then I put a kiosk in there. People would come by and use my exercise bikes. And I would just start making money passively from it. Or I would build this huge bowling alley with a kiosk machine in it. And all these people would show up, go bowling. I don't know, like, I love the kiosk.
Yeah.
Where I earn money over time.
I understand that because in Sims 4, the business practice in that is absolute trash, only because I want my cash register. There's no cash register. There's a salesperson that goes around with a stupid tablet and goes up to people who want that item and checks them out like that. I want a line. What? I want a cash register. I want it to be like a proper store.
You want it to be... Remember that one game that business game that
King of Retail?
Yeah, King of Retail. Thank you. You want your own retail store, cash register, stock people, marketing people. I would love something like that in a Sims game.
You can have that in Sims 4, but it's so modernized that it doesn't feel like a store. It feels like one of those cafes that have like those snaps instead of clapping.
Oh my god!
It just feels like that, and I'm not into that. You know, I like the tradition.
It's super hip or whatever the kids are.
Hipsters, yeah.
Chic. It's chic or what? I don't know what the kids are. It's fleek. It's on fleek. I don't know. Whatever you kids say nowadays. I'm out of touch as an old person.
It's like very pinky up. It's very yes, please get me that.
Yes,
please.
put that on my car. Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel real.
No, it's not a Walmart. They in Sims 3 you're shopping at like Saks Fifth Avenue or Nordstrom or something. And whereas you want to run like a Walmart, registers, clothes racks everywhere, that kind of thing. Anyway.
Yeah. All right.
I'll give myself one of these.
Stay on target.
All right. Yeah. So moving on to Plenty. Yeah, number 12. Go ahead. You start.
No, go ahead. Plenty. No. I thought we were gonna read it together.
All right. Together. Ready? One.
All right. Let's go.
Plenty of customizable options that are interchangeable and that's awesome. Okay, we did great. Okay, hold on. That deserves a.
Do not hug me.
No, that's not it. That's a
open salami.
No, that's not it either.
Open salamis.
Yeah. Whatever. Anyway, so I need better sound effects. I haven't fixed my sound pad since I got my new computer. Plenty of customizable options that are interchangeable in game.
What do you mean by interchangeable?
Okay,
in-game?
so grounded. you could turn on or off the durability of weapons while you were playing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So the ability to make, let's say there's a 10 screen setup where you can customize everything. Okay, then you start playing it, and then 30 days in, you're like, man, I wish I had adjusted that one setting a tad lower because I like it. I wish it's too hard, or maybe this setting is just too much. Rather than you having to start from scratch again and go through the 10 screens and customize a brand new start, you should be able to change things mid-game so that they take effect right away. That's what I mean by plenty of customizable options that are interchangeable in-game.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. I don't have much more to say about that. Grounded let you do it to some degree. There's some other open world RPGs where you're stuck.
Conan did it
Yeah.
pretty good, I think.
Yeah. You could change. Yeah, in Conan, you can. I can make myself an admin and then change a bunch of stuff, which is awesome. So I like seeing stuff like that. Number 13, we're almost done. Smooth and easy controls and key bindings. So, not much to say about that. I think this came about because we were frustrated by Grounded and the platforming part of it, because there was one level in Grounded where you went down into a tube, it's like a ship or something, and then you were jumping from console to console because the ship was tilted away, and it was god awful. It was just so janky. If you're gonna have a janky game, don't make it a platforming thing, in my opinion. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. It's smooth and easy controls.
In Grounded, I had so much trouble with combat. I had to constantly switch from first person to third person so I can like adjust my cursor, my aiming. Then again, I have trouble with Conan Exile combat, so
It's a depth perception. Depth perception, I think.
I need new glasses, baby.
Please, no. I can't. I don't want to.
Oh no!
I'm kidding. I see how it is.
Kidding.
I see how it is.
He got me these.
I did, but no, apparently they're not good enough right away. Yes, it's been a month. I need new glasses.
I don't know. Yeah. I like smooth, easy controls.
Jeffrey, patch me in my third pair of glasses.
Key bindings, obviously. I hate. It's 2022. We need. To key bind. It's kind
of and I'm gonna just throw this out there. You know how many games released nowadays that don't have keybinds?
That's really sad.
Even if they're not an open world survival game, it's 2022. If there are free-to-play games with keybind controls, your $5, $10, $50 games should have keybinds. I'm sorry, it should.
I was playing a free-to-play game. I forget what it's called. I think it was called Caneva or something like that. It was an open world multiplayer browser game. It had awesome economy. You can actually run a shop, which was actually cool. And it had key bindings. I couldn't believe it. It was like the first game I've ever seen that was online, a browser game, and had key bindings.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, this game just like set the standard for every single purchasable game in the future. So yeah, I mean, if a free game has it, a free browser game, then why can't, an actual purchase game have key bindings? So, or sound sliders.
Oh, one thing that we forgot to do, think of a Spanish sentence of the week or month. while we're talking, just don't send it to me. Just say it out loud because I'm not going to bother copying and pasting in. But we rushed to get this podcast on the night because I didn't want to do it tomorrow, much to Idalee's chagrin. So yeah, just while in your head, just think of a Spanish sentence, and you'll just say it when the time comes. Okay. I'll move on to number 14. A sense of accomplishment. You on here had in parentheses V Rising versus Valheim. I know I should probably talk for a bit and stall while you come up with a Spanish sentence, but can you
Sorry, go ahead.
No, can you tell me what do you mean by V Rising versus V High? Like what is the sense of accomplishment between the two games?
So for me, if I work hard at something, right? If I grind like crazy to get something done or to get like a very powerful item. I want to be able to one shot a monster, or I want to be able to feel as if I'm wrecking things, if I've worked so hard.
Hmm.
And if I'm still having trouble, if I'm still feeling like a level 1 person as opposed to, the level 60 that I am, then that's a bunch of crap. That's a bunch of baloney.
I don't recall games off the top of my head, but there are games out there that scale the difficulty based on your power level, and I hate that.
Yeah,
If
New
it,
World
New World,
sometimes.
yeah. So like, if I like RPGs where this is zone one. You're gonna find level 1 through 5 in here. And then this zone, 5 through 10, and this zone, 20 through 30. I want to know where things are so I can grind out stuff. You know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
like, I hate that games when they scale you. So, if you find this really cool, awesome gun, or this really cool, awesome sword, or armor piece, whatever, the enemies will level up, and now you feel just as weak as you did before. I
Mhm.
absolutely hate that. Having a sense of accomplishment, I want to be able to one shot stuff, like you said. That's why I wait. That's why I hoard. That's why I hold off on doing main quests, because I like to. I want to. By the time I get to doing the main quest, I want to be able to feel like Rambo with, like, one of those bullet things around my, whatever they're called, and a huge gun or armor, whatever. I want to be able to one shot things, and I'm stalling for as long as I can. Darn it.
All
Um,
right.
so did V Rising have a sense of accomplishment for you? Did you feel like you were powering up in that
Yes.
game?
Yes, absolutely. Especially when I turned into a bat. Yes,
The bat didn't
absolutely.
attack though; it was just a fast
No,
travel.
it was awesome though. Like I worked so hard to get to like I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a bat. I'm gonna be a bat. Since the first time I played, I was like, okay, vampire. There has to be a bat somewhere in this game. And then when I finally got to that point, I said, okay, now I'm a bat. My life is complete. I'm strong as heck. I can like actually demolish these bosses. The sun can shine on me as much as it wants. It's not going to destroy
Yeah, right,
me.
exactly.
Sure.
Okay, makes sense.
But
And then
yeah,
you said Valheim did not give you a sense of accomplishment?
not really, honestly. Like I worked so hard, like just mining so much. Like the grind was unreal. And I think you even adjusted the settings, didn't you?
To some
Like for
degree, but even then, like, what frustrated me was we got like the best gear and the best armor and the best weapons, and then we got into this sand area. Like, it was like one of the later game, like it was like fourth or fifth boss or whatever it was, and there were these
Mhm.
bugs that poisoned you and killed you. Like, why bother doing, like, all you're doing is gearing up to barely beat the next area, rather than feeling like you're leveling up to, like, there's no way. Valheim doesn't give you a way to level up your character past the current armor set. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, there's no stat points to make your strength stronger or your agility better. And there's none of that. It is gear dependent. And you cannot access the next gear until you venture into the tough area, which contains all the nasty stuff that you're not prepared for.
Mhm.
I dislike that. I like a system where you can grind out lower level stuff to get skill points or attribute points so that you can eventually beat the stronger stuff without having to obtain the best gear. The best gear would be helpful, sure, but I like to be able to. I don't want it to be 100% gear driven. I want it to be also stat driven, based
Yeah.
on like attributes and talents and stuff.
Mhm.
P-
Doesn't New World do that too, or is that like biome specific? I don't remember.
It's been a while since I've. New World actually separates zones, but they didn't make a whole lot of sense. Like,
Yeah.
north of the main town, there was like this level 20 through 30, and then south was like 1 through whatever. It was like, it was all over the place, in my opinion. You had like
Mhm.
strong zones here where they shouldn't have been, and it was all discombobulated. I haven't played New World in forever. Maybe they changed it.
What sucks though is that it's very multiplayer heavy when you get to the dungeons. You cannot really solo the dungeons, which I think is so asinine because
Mm-hmm.
I like to play by myself sometimes, and I love that New World you can kind of sort of just go off on your own. But when you get to a certain point, you have to play with people, and it's like, oh man.
The same could be said for World of Warcraft. I
Ooh.
can't tell you, in days of yore, before they had a queuing system, they eventually implemented a queuing system where you chose your role, tank, healer, or DPS, and then you queued up with randoms into a dungeon. But 9 times out of 10, there was one tank that was queued, one healer that was queued, and 6,000 DPS that was queued. So you couldn't get into games anyway. But even before then, you had to know people or advertise in party or whatever to get into things because you couldn't do things by yourself. I wish more open world survival games gave you the dungeon experience but scaled based on how many people were in there, or if you were powerful enough, you could just go in there and wipe the floor with everyone and it still matter loot wise. I don't know. I've yet to really find a game that handles that very well.
Yeah, same.
I feel like dungeons and raids are still very multiplayer oriented and not at all for the single player person.
Even with Warhammer Vermintide 2, they were like, again, it's 2022. Fix your bots. Like, I'm so sick and tired of bots, from World War Z to Back for Blood to Warhammer Vermintide 2. These
Aliens.
aliens, Ghostbuster Spirits Unleashed.
Oh my god, your bots are awful.
These bots, man, like,
Yeah.
fix your AI. How hard is it really?
It's not, because in the Aliens game, what's the rest of it called? Aliens what?
Fireteam Elite.
Fireteam Elite. People have modded the bots to make them better. If people can mod the game and make it better, then the developers should be able to mod the game and make it better. But they choose not to.
I don't understand. Like, it's so frustrating. Like, I hate when, like, this generation now, like the last few years, like, game developers are really trying to push people together. Like, there's sometimes people just don't want to play with other people, and that's okay. What is so wrong with that? Like, it's like people are forced to play with other people, and sometimes I just don't want to do that. I like my alone time, you know? I like to focus.
And as ironic as that is, we wish that The Long Dark had co-op.
Co-op with your loved one.
Yes.
just your loved
right.
one.
Yeah. My point is, like, there are games that, I wish we had the option for both single and multiplayer. It is what it comes down to. Anyway.
In a previous podcast, one of my biggest, like my top things to change about games nowadays is we need more options. We need more customizable options, whether it's people that want to play with each other, people that want to solo play. It's all dependent on, like, the mood of a person, like, on that day. Sometimes I want to play with people. Most of the time I want to play by myself. Like, it just changes.
Can you play Barrel Trauma by yourself, or are the bots awful, or?
The bots are pretty awful, but you still can at least play by yourself and get a handle on
But
things.
it's better with people.
It is better with people, unfortunately.
See, that's what I mean. Like, there needs to be... I mean, why have bots at all if they're awful?
Yeah.
I mean, take the time to fix it. And what's weird is, like, either they don't know how... I mean, that must be it. Or they don't want to. Because it's either a developer's vision to do a thing a certain way, or they don't know how to do it. Like, I don't understand. By catering to every possible gamer, single player, multiplayer, casuals, hardcore, you're going to make more money. So why not take the time to do it?
I think a lot of it is, I was reading on like this Reddit post. I'm not a Redditor, for the record.
Yes.
But I was reading a Reddit post, and a lot of people say that they need games to be harder because games are too easy. So I think that's why they dumb down AI, which kind of sucks.
Okay, fine. But there are other ways to increase difficulty. Making the AI more stupid for everyone is not the answer. Having difficulty levels have been a thing for a long time now. Easy, normal, hard, brutal, impossible, hardcore, Iron Man mode. How many games have had that option? This is not an open world survival game, but there's a game that Stardock made that's tower defense. The name is escaping me right now. Stardock tower defense game. Anyway, 10 modes of difficulty. It was Siege of Centaurus or Siege of Centauri or something like that.
Okay.
But
Yes,
10 different difficulty. That's what I look for.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a wide range of difficulty options. Open world survival or anything else. Like, why do you have to dumb down your AI to make it harder? When there are other ways to make a game more challenging, just for the people that want it to be more challenging.
What I love, it's not, again, this is not an open world survival game, but Earthfall is a shoot 'em up game.
Like Left 4 Dead.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and they have like bot modifiers. Like it's not in depth at all. It's just like an easy, a pro or medium or whatever. Like I think there's like 4 options for ways
To make the
have
AI
your
smarter or
bot.
dumber. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool. I wish more games had that. I wish more games had like, okay, set this bot to a tank, set this bot to be aggressive, set this bot to be this or that.
I want this bot to defend me until I tell them to stop. I want this bot to take point over there. I want this bot to go up there and get eaten by zombies because he's annoying me. And I need to run past them so I can get to the safe house. Something like, you know what I mean? Just like, I wish I had more control over stuff like that.
And for people who say, oh, you just want bots to play the game for you, listen, who are you to judge a person's play style?
Yeah, really.
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. They're elitists. I'm sorry. There's a bunch of people out there that you have to play my way or you're just simply not a gamer. Oh, please. Please. You're so full of yourselves sometimes that you must be so miserable. I'm sorry that you're miserable. I'm sorry that everyone has to be like you. It doesn't have to be that way.
All right, so number 15.
Wait, hold on. We have to do.
Perhaps you think you're being treated unfairly.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Stay on target.
That's better. Okay.
Oh, okay, that one. Okay.
Okay, so number 15.
wondering.
Yeah, I hit the wrong one. I have my sound almost off so it doesn't double into OBS. So otherwise it'll echo. So I can barely hear it when I click a sound effect. And I'm like, this is going on way too long. Which one did I click? Oh, it was Darth Vader. Okay, anyway. This one is...
Are you always this? Wow.
Okay, yeah, okay. Anyway.
Stay on target.
Stay on target. Anyway, so last one. Mod support. Stardew Valley, excellent example of this. There are some things about that game that I cannot stand, and a couple of mods make it 10 times better. There's a mod in Stardew Valley where you can see everyone's location all the time. There's an in-game encyclopedia that tells you when a crop will grow, when a fish will be there, what gifts a person likes and dislikes, when their birthday is.
There's an in-game wiki. I love that mod. Every single game should even have that without it being a mod.
Yes. Don't Starve Together should have an in-game wiki. Oxygen Not Included. Other games that aren't even open world survival should have these kinds of things in it. Stardew Valley has a skull elevator mod where skull elevator is like a get as far as you can, then it resets back to 0. I hate that because I can't get anywhere in that. So it saves every 5 or 10 levels, it saves your progress. I love that. And automation chests, where things will craft and then automatically dump into a nearby chest. I love that. Stardew Valley has excellent mod support. More open world survival games need to be that way, in my opinion.
I agree. I slightly agree, because I only recently started getting into modding, and I still am not really big into modding, just because it involves... Huh?
Sometimes it's a pain in the butt.
To install and things like that.
Yeah, there are some Steam, the Steam ones aren't bad. You can subscribe and unsubscribe, and that's it. It auto installs. But when you've got, for example, Skyrim's mod, Nexus mod or whatever it was called, trying to get that stupid mod to work was a pain in the butt. You had to download Nexus mods, then do this, then convert this file, put it in this folder. I don't know. It was just hop on your left foot 10 times. It was awful.
The Skyrim mod that I try to get you to download, and I was trying to work with you, I actually went downstairs. This is a whole story, folks. I went downstairs, and I was rubbing your back, and I'm like, it's okay, we got this. And you were like, I hate this. Oh my god. Like, you were so mad.
Well, it shouldn't be that hard.
So bad.
It shouldn't be that hard. In Days of Yore, There was a folder you downloaded, and you put the folder in the other folder, and that was it. And in the Skyrim one, why do I have to jump through 10 hoops to get stuff?
You have to install a program. Same thing with Stardew Valley. You have to install a program. You have to
that
put
wasn't
that
that
in the
bad.
file.
Well, that was Smappy. Smappy is nothing. That was easy. I mean,
I don't know. I'm not big into modding, but I would rather have games that have in-game wikis. I want games to have in-game stuff, like Steam mods. I love Steam mods because all it is just subscribe, click a button, subscribe.
If I have to go to a wiki, if I have to Alt-Tab, then that's a problem. Your game should have an answer to my question in there somewhere.
Yep.
Okay, that's my opinion. Some people don't like that. Some people like the hardcore, well, it's a learning experience, you just need to get good. I'm sorry, but I'm not the developer. If there's like here's an example. Phasmophobia. Not an open world survival game, but the ghosts, there's a general description in the book of each ghost type and what their strengths and weaknesses are. However, there are some behind the scenes numbers that are only available in, say, a wiki somewhere that tell you more details. Like, I was actually on their Discord, there's a separate section for ghost hunting tips or whatever, and I was learning so much about the different ghost types, and they weren't in the game. I'm like, why isn't this in the game? This is information that everyone could benefit from. You know what I mean? Like, why aren't more games doing that? And for an open world survival game, I think it's even more important, especially if you come across, okay, let's say you get in this, let's say you're playing an open world zombie survival game and you get infected. Is there an encyclopedia entry somewhere to address what you need to fix it? Or are you left to wiki it, to figure out what you need? If I'm left to figure it out and wiki it, then it needs to be in there somewhere. And if you're one of those hardcore people, then don't use the encyclopedia. Figure it out. But you should have, there at least should be an option. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, did we stray from the mod support topic?
We did.
I don't even know.
We're on 15 and a half.
I see, 15 and a half. I think that was our last one, though, right?
It was.
And do we have anything else to say about mod support?
I don't. I think mod support is big, and that's make it easy and make it easy and make it so that I can do a lot of cool stuff. Anyway, make quality of life.
It's not an open world, but
mod support. Well, yeah.
Planet Zoo, easiest mod support ever. Just click a button, subscribe.
What kind of mod support is in Planet Zoo?
You can have pre-made
blueprints, like
enclosures, like blueprints and enclosures for certain animals.
But do they mod the game to add more animals or anything? It's just blueprints, like pre-made.
Blueprints, pre-made enclosures, pre-made like decorative stuff, pre-made education systems, which is actually kind of cool, and animal talks enclosures, which I'm terrible at making, so I love the mod support for Planet Zoo.
This sounds more like a Sims 2 download catalog. You remember those old style Sims 2 download catalogs where you downloaded couches and you put them into the game? Like, you know what I mean? You had to subscribe or download them and you put them in the game. People even created people or families that you could download and put into the game. Yeah. That's what that sounds like. That doesn't sound like a mod, more like a catalog that you can download stuff.
But it's still mod, isn't it? It's still mod. Like Sims have mods.
You're downloading a blueprint. You're downloading a blueprint more than a mod, in my opinion. I could.
Factorio has blueprint mods.
That's still a blueprint, in my opinion.
It's still a mod.
No, when I mean mod, I mean something game changing. Stardew Valley, going from moving things physically from the machine into a chest. That's manual, but having the automation, that is a mod, because you're changing the way the game plays for quality of life improvement.
Oh, I see.
Here, the mods that you're talking about are like catalogs. They're just pre-made stuff that it's more of like a blueprint. It's a blueprint library that you have access to.
It changes my gameplay experience because I don't know how to do it.
I get it. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
So if I can have like an awesome seal enclosure, then I will mod it and I will build it, because otherwise I won't have any seals.
If you build it, they will come.
Because I don't know how to build it.
But isn't that fun? Isn't it in Planet Zoo, I love the crappy. I mean, I'm not good at it. I create these horrible square pens that have no personality whatsoever. Some people like create dips and water and rivers and mountains. I'm like, just squares. Square here, square here, square. Make money, make money, make money, make money. That's all I'm all about. Yeah.
That's why I love the mod support, because it actually gives you like all the necessities right off the bat. It's actually quite nice.
Cool. All right. Well, is there anything else to say before we move on?
I don't think so. Okay.
Well, I guess we'll quickly jump into our Patreon and Twitch thank yous. Patreon people, thank you so much for your continued support. Ratsy's pledged $135 this month for a lifetime of $6,200. That is amazing. Thank you so much. I have to send you guys keys yet, so bear with me. Brian pledged $50 for a lifetime of $1,500. Greg Howe pledged $10 for a lifetime of $642. Mind a Lot pledged $5 for a lifetime of $190. Rip Alpha pledged $1 for a lifetime of $67. And Alyssa Barrett pledged $1 for a lifetime of $26. So thank you, Patreon people. The first three on that list, Ratsies, Brian, and Greg, or King Bobcat, I should say. I promise I will send you keys as soon as I remember to. Twitch subscribers, White Knight has been subscribed for 55 months. Bessa has been subscribed for 53, and Little Lily P has been subscribed for 23. So in one more year, she'll be 2, or one more month, she'll be 2 years at this point. So awesome. Thank you all for your continued support. If you are a Patreon subscriber or a Twitch subscriber, or if you've supported me via PayPal, whatever, I do sometimes get free keys from developers. Patreon folks and Twitch people get first dibs on these things. So if you're looking for free keys from me, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. Weekly Spanish. Well, I have weekly on here. It's more monthly at this point. Do you have a Spanish sentence?
I do.
All right, let me do this. I'm gonna just jump into, even though this is the wrong sentence.
I'll send it to you real quickly.
No, I'm just going to delete this. Can you just?
I'm gonna send it to you.
No, say it. I want, without me reading it. I want to see if I can hear it. This is gonna be new.
And type it out.
No. No. Okay, so say.
I think it'd be amazing if you could just type it out. Try to type it.
Oh my god. Okay. I have to. Well, hold on. Let me see. Spanish. Okay, so go ahead. You have to say. All right, say it normal speed first.
Like normal speed. All right. Para ir audazmente a donde ningún hombre ha ido antes.
Well, I got Barrila Grombo. That's. I don't think that's right. Okay, so can we slow that down for a minute?
Yes. All right, ready?
Okay.
Para ir audazmente.
Slower!
Sorry, okay.
She does this to me. Okay, para.
No. I'll say the first word. Para ir.
Para ir.
Audazmente.
Audazmente. Ahora mente. What?
No. I'm just repeating it so that you could spell it right, and you keep Well,
I thought you were moving on to the next word. Okay,
no,
I got para ir audazmente ahora. What?
¿A dónde? Ningún hombre ha ido antes.
That's it?
You got 2 words. No, you got 3 words. Very good.
So, para ir audazmente ahora a donde ningún hombre ha ido antes. Yes? Is that what you said? Okay. So para y for. Para is for. So para y for and adasmente adadentite is that's an element from the periodic table. Ahora is now, or the hour of. Donde is where.
That ahora was just me saying audazmente again, trying to make you spell it better. So that's not even a thing. I'm
Whatever.
sorry.
Donde is where. Mean goon is like an angry village. It's an angry like mobster. Mean goon. Hombre is man. Ido ante. Whenever you bet in poker, you're anteing up. So what we have here is we've got an element for the periodic table where, okay, so there's a mobster, a mean mobster or goon from the periodic table that's betting. It's a guy because he's an hombre. He's anteing an element from the periodic table at the dem type. Yeah, that's what I'm going with, and that's all.
Okay.
So please tell me.
I will give you a hint. I'll give you a hint. It's a Star Trek quote.
You're gonna have to do better than that.
All right, Kirk said it. Captain Kirk said it. It's a very popular Star Trek quote that Kirk said.
There should be ellipses between every word in that case. dot 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 dot.
Do you want me to send this message to you on Discord?
Yes.
I can't. Okay. I can't
do it on Steam because
I can on Steam. It's disconnected on Steam.
All right, fine. Never mind then. I can't do it on Discord.
Oh, okay.
So just repeat it one more time in Spanish and then tell me what it means.
I will send it to you. How that on text?
No, just I can't convert. Just tell me what it is. Read it again.
All right. Para. You got the para right.
For.
Which is good. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Ir. Ir. Is not EER, but IR.
Okay.
Audazmente. AUDAZMENTE.
Okay.
Adonde. You got donde, right?
Where?
Adonde. Ningun. NINGUN.
So to boldly go where no man has gone before.
There you go. Gosh.
I got it from where and man.
Very good. I knew if I gave you those hints, you would get it.
Well, no, I got the Kirk. Okay, Kirk didn't just say that. Although
he was the first one to say it, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it was eventually evolved into where no one has gone before because man was, I guess, two. Anyway.
Oh, really?
I'm not going to get into that. Okay. So where no man became no one. And then from there it evolved into Discovery, which I'm not going to touch with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
But so that's okay. So we're to boldly go where no man is. So what you're seeing on here, folks, is not how you spell it, but that's how I interpreted it. It's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that is our podcast, episode 40. Thank you all for your continued support. It means a lot. If you guys haven't already, subscribe to me on Twitch, and you sent it to me anyway. Wow.
I did.
If you guys haven't already, hold on. Do we have? I don't even know if I have another Star Trek.
Can I? Yeah, there we go.
Wow. Okay.
Does that even show?
No, it's all blurry.
Dang it.
Don't even. It's fine.
All right.
I'm looking for Star Trek things. Hold on. Yeah, here we go.
Okay.
Shut up, Wesley.
All right. There's that.
Let's rock and roll.
That's Star Trek. Not Star.
He's biting that female.
Okay.
Do not hug me.
Is there a gentleman in your life?
That's not Star Trek. All right, anyway, I'm good. This is Vincent Idly. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you all next time. Take care.
Bye, guys.